I'm with Grenville Ham at Nesta, which has been celebrating, among other things, the win of the Green Valleys project as an exemplar of what we might do with mass localism. So everybody's very enthused about localism these days, but Grenville, what's it really been like? What's the last 2 years? I think it started in a pub.
It was when Nesta launched the Big Green Challenge, they said there's £1 million prize up for grabs for the big ideas out there that can really change the way our communities tackle climate change. And a friend and I was sitting in a pub one day, and he's an ecologist. I've got an interest in renewable energy, and we matched the two together insofar as what if renewable energy could pay for the ecological impacts of climate change to help it mitigate those effects, and also create a spillover and a slush fund for reinvestment into further renewable energy projects. And with that in mind, Nesta eventually gave us a bit of a backing and gave us some money to develop our ideas. And we've now built 11 hydroelectric systems, supplying around about 400, 500 homes worth of power. And it's spiralling out now into district heating systems, it's community-owned electric cars, community-owned woodlands, all of which turn a profit that's reinvested back into further low-carbon initiatives. And most of them are their own standalone social enterprises, but it's really had a massive impact on galvanising and empowering our communities to take ownership of the problems themselves.
But I'm sure that behind that there's been quite a lot of slog on the ground. What have you had to do?
Yeah, well, it's from a standing start, you see. This was 2 years ago. The initial thing was we had to, well, perhaps foolishly, I organised 60 evening lectures. So that's every Monday to Friday night after work for 3 months. But the main reason was to talk about climate change and its local impacts. I had photographs of the impact on our uplands and talk about the issues of energy and how we can come up with that ourselves. But part of it was, in the long run, if we do become successful, every community will have had an opportunity to have been involved from the very, very start. And I thought that was vitally important. And the truth of it as well, it was getting out there and finding out who could help me, because it was just two of us to start with. But now we've got a couple of hundred volunteers who really help deliver and develop the project forward.
So it's about building relationships, I guess.
Building relationships that weren't even there. Yeah, and it's all about trust. The key thing is we're tackling our local concerns, be they the peat bog erosion, the lack of affordable heating in our communities. But all of these problems are part of the big global issues, such as energy depletion, climate change. But just giving them a local spin and a local context, so people understood them and knew that when they had a small success, it was part of an overall bigger picture.
I think we're seeing now lots of innovation workshops around, lots of enthusiasm about this, lots of ideas coming up. But I sense the idea is just the start of it.
Well, the idea is very much just the start of it. Our long-term plan is for our entire region to be energy self-sufficient. We think within about 4 years we'll be about 20% of our region's electricity will be owned by local social enterprises. But the long-term aim is to use that revenue to part finance the running of our local schools, the reopening of pubs and shops, and actually really make a significant difference to the social infrastructure in each of our communities. It's all owned and run for the benefit of the communities themselves.
Obviously, every community is different, but do you have any general tips for, one, the local enthusiasts, and two, government, local or national?
The key point for government is actually to say, to enable us. From a hydroelectric point of view, there's a raft of environmental legislation we have to adhere to, but they're now bringing out further regulations on the technical capacity that we have to do, which is unnecessary, really. So actually think very carefully about any sort of new regulations that come out. And in terms of the communities and those out there, I was two years and one day ago, I was sitting there in the pub with an idea. Generally, I would just finish my beer, go home, and not do anything about it. And it did just take that one day, that one spark, and that one conversation with my mate, and we actually got out there and did it. So, I've managed to do it. I wouldn't say it's easy by any stretch, but if you've got even the slight inkling of an idea, I'd say voice it and get out there, because there will be people out there that share that idea. You just don't necessarily know them yet.
Change your community, change your life?
Quite possibly, yeah.